Hello, Hannah the Suburban Witch here, and today we're talking the difference between tarot and oracle decks. Starting with the tarot. To be called a tarot deck, this deck of cards needs to have 78 cards total. No more, no less. Now those 78 cards need to follow a system, and that system is broken up into 4 suits. Okay, that is your pentacles, swords, wands, and cups. Okay, they can also be named other things. You might find some that instead of saying cups, they say shells. Instead of saying swords, they say air or birds, or there's lots of different terms, but they're going to be 4 different suits and they're going to relate to the different elements: fire, air, earth, water, etc. Now, there's also going to be, within those 4 suits, the numbers ace to 10 and 4 court cards. So that's page, knight, queen, king. Again, some decks will give these different names, but the system remains the same. Next, we have 22 major arcana cards, numbered 0 to 21. So there's 22 cards in total, and these are your standard archetype cards. So these are things like the Fool, the Empress, the High Priestess, Devil, the Death card, the Tower, those sorts of ones. And they refer to life situations and big events in our lives and archetypes as well. So they need to have all of those to be called a tarot deck. I'm going to show you a couple of differences between tarot decks as well, just so you can see how they all follow the same system, even if they are different decks. Here we have the Fool card. This is one of those major arcana cards I was talking about. We can see this one here is the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. That is the standard tarot deck most tarot readers will begin with, or at least have on hand. Now we can see similar themes. There's a puppy dog and he's about to step off the cliff. He's not looking where he's going. We can see that here as well. This puppy dog's literally holding him back off the cliff. Mountains in the background. And then we have this one. This is Shadowscapes, and just for your record, this is Dark Mansion. Shadowscapes is a little bit different. They've made it a female. Instead of a dog, there's a fox, and she is, taking that leap. She's already halfway through, jumping off the edge there. Similar themes, similar ideas. The main meaning, or the traditional meaning, remains the same, no matter the tarot deck that you pick up. But you can pick up different things using different decks. So this deck I find really healing, great for love readings or self-healing, that sort of thing. This one's great for just everyday stuff, especially work and traditional style readings. This one's a little bit quirky and just good for a bit of fun. So there's different elements, and you could look at each one and go, oh, these mountain peaks, seems like you've come a long way from, some difficult times. It's been a rough journey behind you. Now you're moving forward. Whereas this one, you could look at, you're being assisted. There's, angels and guides are guiding you through this process of taking that leap of faith. Okay, so different decks can give you different meanings, but the traditional or the base meaning remains the same. Now we're switching over to an oracle deck. Now I only own one oracle, so I can't do a comparison for you. This one, it's not even marketed as an oracle card. It's called reading cards, but they're essentially the same thing. Now, there is no set number of cards. You can find an oracle deck or a reading card deck that is 10 cards, and you can find one that's 150. There are no set limits and there are no set systems. So oracle cards are totally free-flowing. They're really a different kettle of fish. You can pick up any deck and they will all be different. You can't interread with those same base meanings because the cards are going to be different. I'll show you an example. So these cards, even just the backs of them, they're all different. Some of them are blue, some of them are white, whereas a tarot deck, they're all going to be the same. Okay, Oracle, there's not really as many rules in place. There's no systems, there's no suits, there's no major archetypes. You can get ones that just have words on them. So you pick a card and it just gives you an affirmation. You can pick ones and it has an angel on it and maybe one word. You can pick ones with lots of symbols, or it might be a crystal, and you use that oracle deck to choose the crystal to work with at the time. So there are so many different ways that you can utilize it. So these are Saints and Mystics cards, as I said. So this one will show a mystic card. Now you can read it similar to how I have in my intuitive reading of tarot video. You can do an intuitive reading. So you can just dive in, take a deep breath and read the symbols and the colors and the vibes that you pick up off the card. You can do that with tarot as well. But for each oracle deck, you're going to get a little book generally that comes with it. All right. And that little book's going to give you a guide on each specific card. Now, each card is going to have a meaning, and you're going to have to either remember those or work with it intuitively for every different deck. You can't pick up one and use the meanings from another card deck. So there's a little bit of a difference there. So if you have a lot of oracle decks, I think it's generally a little bit more learning, whereas tarot, big system to learn at the start, but then you can literally pick up any tarot deck and know those meanings and cross-pollinate them that way. So that's the main difference. They're both going to work the same in terms of divination. So you can ask a question and get a divinatory answer. With my Saints and Mystics reading cards, they're more like a prayer and conjure style card. So you may, pick a card that you need to work with. Oh, Saint Barbara, of course, she came out. She has popped up, I'm not kidding, for almost every single one of my prayer and conjure readings that I offer during isolation. And she works with people who are locked up. So that's very fitting. And she has this beautiful crown, which symbolizes to me corona, crown, coronavirus, crown virus. So these decks, they have a little jab at us sometimes, don't they? Anyway, so this one you may, pop her on your altar and work with her and her story and how that resonates. If you have a question, you can look at her story and sort of take your own insight from it, rather than the tarot where you pick a card and it's going to tell you, a specific meaning, what this card means, what it represents, and give you that sort of an answer. So thank you for joining me today. Please like and subscribe and check out some of my other video content I have on the tarot, and I hope to do more on oracles in the future. Thank you. Bye for now.